Hey, Coach, man, what time is it?
Oh, Slim, you know what time it is. 6 o'clock. Straight up and down. It's HomeSpun Sports with Coach John Montgomery. Sports talk with a twist of down-home wisdom. Welcome. We're so glad you have tuned in. It's HomeSpun Sports. Sports talk with a twist of down-home wisdom. I'm your host, the coach, John W. Montgomery II, and I'm right here in good old Houston, Texas, H-Town in the house, and way up there in Oklahoma City.
Yes,
my
sir.
Ride or die, the last P in the shell, my baby boy. What's up, Slim?
What's going on, Coach? How you doing, man?
Man, dude, I am telling you now, Mildred, if I was doing any better, I'd either have to be twins or pay interest.
Now I'm talking about, Coach.
But listen, man, I am so excited about our very special guest. Young folks would call our very special guest a OG. Old guys like me would call him an institution. Drafted by the Cleveland Browns in the 5th round in 1959 with the 53rd pick in the NFL draft. He played for the Cleveland Browns from 1959 to 1967. 1968, he ended his career with the Washington Redskins. He's been an executive in the National Football League with 3 teams, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Baltimore Ravens. He is a man's man in every sense of the word. I am elated to call this man my good and dear friend. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome an institution, an American treasure, John Wooten.
Okay, after that, maybe I should let you speak to my wife. She might some of that information.
Coach, thank
Grand entrance.
Coach, thank you so very, very much. We certainly do appreciate having you on our show. I mean,
thank you, Coach.
You're a top drawer in my book, and in the estimation of thousands and thousands of others. The lives you've impacted, the imprint you've made on people, not just in football, Coach. You are an institution.
Icon.
We're elated to have you. Slim, I got to tell you, it's a Sunday afternoon. I'm probably 7 or 8 years old. Your pawpaw sitting in front of the TV, watching the Sunday evening football game. In them days, it wasn't but one game on Sundays. But so he's watching the game intently, and he hollers out at me, "John Two!" I come down and he said, "Boy, sit down here for a minute. Sit down here." I said, "Boy, look at it. Black and white TV, John."
Yes,
black and white TV.
You ain't got no color.
So he said, "Boy, you see, that's Jim Brown, number 32. You see a guy on that offensive line, number 60? That's John Wooten." I said, "Boy, them two show enough football players, man." And I mean, man, that was my first recollection of John Wooten. And Coach, then I'm a young coach in 1981. I'm at the American Football Coach Association National Convention. And I spotted you and Harry Carson in the lobby of the convention. I was like, "That's John Wooten." And phew, man, I ran up to you, shook your hand, man. I tell you. And ever since then, Coach, you've been my mentor. You've been my friend. And I'm just praise God that you are still virile and informative. And welcome to our show.
Welcome,
Thank
Coach.
you much. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. It's been a
Hey,
great ride. The good Lord has blessed me. And as you were saying in your prayer there, we start every day just that way. You know, that everything that we do throughout this day be pleasing in your sight. It's the way we pray every single day. And we just believe that's the way to do it.
Ain't no question. Ain't no question. Ain't no question.
Coach Wooten, I wanna go back. Like my dad has said, you have impacted thousands and thousands of lives. And one in particular that I want to talk about is that summit way back that was called when Muhammad Ali wouldn't be inducted into the army, where he refused. And your teammate, like my dad said, Jim Brown, called a meeting in stance with Muhammad Ali and said we're not going we won't be a part of this. I want to know, what were you thinking about when that picture was taken? Because if you look at it, we're gonna have a picture on screen, but if you look at it, I mean, you're over here contemplating. You're looking at Kareem Abdul Jabbar, and I'm like, what are you thinking about, Coach? Can you take us back to that moment?
Well, you know, Slim, the thing about it is that it was such a great carryover from the relationship that we had with those men there. Well, if you look at the wall behind us, you'll see the initials NIEU, Negro Industrial and Economic Union. And that was an organization that we as sports people, we weren't out in the street marching and sitting in and doing the demonstrations because, number one, as I told Dr. King, as much as I love him and just believe in him, I knew that I couldn't stand for nobody to spit on me or push me or pour some syrup over my head. So we didn't get in. When I said we, I'm talking about the sports, particularly
Sports people, yes, sir.
pro sports people.
Yes, sir.
We were involved in the marches, and as we probably should have been, you know, because number one, we felt that if we were involved in somebody's pushing or spitting on you, the next thing you're going to be fighting, and that's going to totally destroy everything that Dr. King was trying to do.
Yes, sir.
So we took the economic route, and by that we had put together, under Jim's direction, an organization called the NIEU. As a matter of fact, in 1965, when Jim retired, we used his retirement as a fundraiser, and we had asked Cassius Clay, was his name. He had not changed his name during this time.
Right.
But we had asked the champ to come in and highlight, headline a fundraiser for Jim on his retirement, which would allow us to make money. And we sold the place out. You know, we sold it right there at Cleveland Arena, down in downtown Cleveland there on Euclid Avenue. We had over 22,000 people to pay their way to Jim's.
Wow.
So and that was the friendship between Jim and Ali, and particularly Herbert Muhammad. So when the champ did not step forward in '67 there in Houston,
That's right. That's right.
then they immediately took his passport and his belt from him.
Yep.
Because their intention was to put him in jail as a draft dodger. So Herbert Muhammad called Jim and said, Jim, we need your help. The champ's in trouble. We need your help. Jim called and said, well, get the guys together and tell them we're going to meet in Cleveland on Saturday night with the champ to support him on this. And the thing about it, Coach and Slim, every single one of those people that I called, not one of them said, well, who's going to take care of this? Who's going to handle this cost? They said, what time and where? I said, we're going to be staying at the Hilton Hotel on 9th and Euclid. That's where we want to be in there for a meeting early Saturday evening.
So let me ask, so John, that iconic picture in Black culture, and you organized it. You called Bill Russell and Bobby Mitchell and Willie Davis and Curtis McClinton. You called all those guys.
Everybody on that picture you see there, I called and said to them, the champ needs our support. And now keep in mind, 90% of those guys on that picture, we had already done our military, the National Guard and everything else. As a matter of fact, Bobby Mitchell and Willie Davis and those guys were veterans. They had served in the military and so forth. But as I said, when they came together, we sit down with the champ, and he stood and he talked about what had happened and why it had happened. And we came up with ideas. Well, get in special service. You won't have to go overseas. He shook his head. He said, I do not want to be connected with any organization that kills people. Mm-hmm. Period. He said, if you're killing people, I don't want to be in your organization. Mm-hmm. And he stood there and answered every question all evening. And when we came out of that meeting, we agreed to go out to 105 in Euclid, which is where the NIAU office is, and have that press conference. All those guys, if you look at them, remember now, the gentleman that's standing behind Bill Russell, that's Carl Stokes.
The mayor.
First black mayor of a major city. But more than that, he was our legal counsel. That's why he's in that picture.
Okay.
Wow.
He's in that picture because he was our legal counsel. Okay? Wow. So, but the thing that just to this day got me, nobody said, man, these people might fire us. Our jobs could be in jeopardy because we were all, Jim wasn't playing, but we were still playing and everything. But this is how that went down.
That was such an interesting point that you just brought up, John, about how nobody was thinking what I stand to lose.
Yes, right.
For taking this position and in being forthright for Muhammad Ali. What could we have right now? And I want to get to Brian Flores a little later and get your take on it. But heck, we could have that kind of unity, and not necessarily just as black men, coaches in general, because Brian Flores is right.
Mm-hmm.
What impact could we have if we had enough people that didn't care what they stood to lose if people came out?
Everybody was a martyr.
Well, here's the point. Here's the point.
Mm-hmm.
We're very much involved with Brian Flores, as you probably know.
Okay.
Involved with him, with getting the job there in Miami. We felt that we don't argue the point of him being fired. Owner has a right to fire whoever he wants.
That's right.
By the same token, you heard immediately that he would never get another job when he filed a complaint. Mm-hmm. We took it upon ourselves, and there are about 16 to 17 general managers, coaches, and other top people around the league will tell you. I sent an email, and I said to them very pointedly, Brian Flores has done nothing wrong. He hasn't violated any laws and rules of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
We all know he's an excellent coach. You know, and I know you can never have too many good players on your team, and you can't have, excuse me, too many good coaches on your staff. Someone need to step up and bring this man in here. And as the Steelers stepped up, Mike Tomlin and brought him in when everybody's saying that he will never have a job in the NFL again. But it's going to come out right, because truth is always going to come out.
Truth always comes out.
Truth,
Come out right. You know what I
truth
mean?
crushed the earth will rise again. Coach, I know you're heavily involved, and you're a chairman. In 2003, you were named chairman of the Fritz Pollard Alliance. What does that entail, the Fritz Pollard Alliance?
Well, let me go back and tell you why we took that name.
Okay.
We took the name Fritz Pollard because in 1921, in the National Football League, Fritz Pollard was a playing coach of the Akron Pros, led the league, won the league championship that year with 11 and 1 tie. Nobody knew this man in a sense of recognition. This man was out of Chicago, went to Lane Tech High School, outstanding player that went on to Brown University. So you know he had to have some smart.
You know he was smart with the Brown.
Became the
Ivy League.
first black All-American. Became the first black to play in the Rose Bowl. Played in the National Football League, outstanding running back, quarterback, everything like you see today.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody knew him. So we took that name so that we would bring recognition to the Fritz Pollard family because of what he had achieved in this league. See, he was in the league up until 1933. And then George Hallis and your good friend George Preston Marshall said that no more colored could play in the league because they were taking jobs away from the white boys. Just that clear. So from 1933 to 1946, there were no blacks in the NFL. And then, of course, but what I'm so proud of, because we did the research and did all the things that we had to do in taking that name, we were able to get him inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2005. So we have paid him back for the use of his name. And that's the way I look at that. But going back to what you mentioned, Coach, the purpose of the organization, Cyrus Mary and Johnny Cochran, who I know you know.
Oh, yeah.
They had a survey done by Janice Madden there at the University of Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Showed that minorities simply wasn't getting the opportunity to be head coaches in the NFL. And she showed that through a study that she had put together. And Johnny, being what he is, said to the Paul Tagliabue, if you're not willing to negotiate something out of this, then we're going to litigate it.
Oh.
So Paul Tagliabue stepped forward and created what is now called the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. That was the name of the committee. And if you know anything about the NFL, that's the way they run their business, through committees. Committee for finance, committee for marketing, everything is a committee. So consequently, Paul Tagliabue stepping forward and creating this committee. But what he did in addition to that, he made Dan Rooney the head of that committee. And I called Cyrus and Johnny Cochran, and I said to them, we have just won because we were able to put this together and create a situation where minorities would get a better chance to coach, and general managers, and everything you see going on in the NFL today is a result of that.
No question.
When you look out there and you see a minority of black women and men and all officiating at these games,
No question.
you know, you old enough to have seen all this when it wasn't that way.
Oh, no question, Coach.
See that now. And that's why when they said you got to get rid of the Rooney Rule, and I'm saying, what? The Rooney Rule is the best thing that happened to the NFL since I came into the NFL. We never had nothing like this. I played all those years in high school and in college and in the NFL, and I never had a black coach in my room on my team. And I wondered about that for years and years. Not that I wanted to coach, but I just wondered, why don't we have any black coaches? And this is what the Fritz Pollard Alliance is all about.
Coach, I got to ask you this. You are the original OG. You have impacted the lives of so many people, and we'd be here till this time tomorrow if we went on. But I got to ask you, tell me your favorite story about Vince Lombardi, a man that I know you knew well. Tell our audience about Vince Lombardi. The Super Bowl trophy is the Vince Lombardi trophy.
And rightfully so. And rightfully so. I mean,
tell us about Vince Lombardi.
Here was a person, and again, I think that the commonality of him and Dan Rooney, were they both were Catholic people, very strong Catholic people. And you know, and of course Lombardi made his move up there in Green Bay. But look at the blacks that he brought in there. You know, remember now, Willie Davis was with us in Cleveland.
Grambling.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, Willie Davis introduced me to my wife. You know,
wow.
In the Cleveland, he was teaching school in the off season. Back then, you had to try to make the money, right?
Yeah.
But he was teaching school in the off season, and I'm end up meeting her because she was a school teacher, and Willie knew her, and I happened to go to her school as a substitute teacher. And this is the way the good Lord works. You know that.
No question.
Everything. But
anyway. Coach, you knew Vince Lombardi. Give me a Vince Lombardi story that our audience may not know. Tell us something about Vince Lombardi.
I doubt if I can tell you anything about him that your audience doesn't know, but he was such an outstanding person in terms of just making you a better player. He was always, you know, when I went there in Washington there in '68, I guess it was, and he had come down from Green Bay and so forth, and we met and talked, and of course, the reason why I was down there because Ross Feedner, one of my teammates, had said that he wasn't going to invite no color to his golf tournament anymore. So that's what created that thing, you know. And so we ended up down in Washington, and I came in and he said, you know, we think you one heck of a good football player, you know, otherwise we wouldn't pick you up and so forth and all. But he was just, at practice, he just ran the whole show, which I was used to under Paul Brown anyway, because back in those days, the head coach ran everything. Wow. Sign you, every contracts, the whole shooting match and so forth. But overall, he deserved to have the trophy named after him. The things that he contributed to making this a better league. Go ahead.
One more legend in coaching that I know you knew well, the great Tom Landry.
Wow.
the amazing thing here, my high school coach, and just to tell you how, I'm a Texan by birth, but I grew up over in Carlsbad, New Mexico.
Okay.
And the schools were segregated up and through the Brown versus Board of Education. But in Carlsbad, instead of them starting at the first grade, second grade, and so forth, they started in high school. That allowed us as blacks to go to high school. Now, if they had started the regular way the Brown versus Board of Education says to do it, I never would have been going to Carlsbad High School, and you and I and Slim wouldn't be on this tonight, because I never would have been. We had no money. I'm dirt poor. I know poor when I see it. I'm the youngest of 6 with a single mom, domestic. If you saw the movie Help, you saw my mom. You saw that movie. The thing, again, the good Lord working, he allowed me to go to Carlsbad High School as a sophomore. I'd never played organized football. Me and a fellow named Joe Kelly, we went out for the team. We were the only 2 blacks out there on the team. But the point is, we could run fast and we were tough.
Okay.
We came to get it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And every day he was a running back, halfback, and I'm playing line. But we made the team. And the head coach was a person by the name of Ralph Boyer. And he was as much like Coach Landry as 2 men could be. Even to the point, both of them were Methodist Sunday school teachers. That's what Coach Landry did. He was a Methodist Sunday school teacher.
Tom Landry taught Sunday school.
Methodist Sunday school teacher, and my high school coach.
Okay.
Same kind of person. When you heard Coach Boyer hit his hand and say, "Get the lead out," you know he was upset and angry. That's all you're going to hear him say. Coach Landry's the same way. So when I came, I knew Coach Landry from a couple of Pro Bowls and so forth that I'd been in with him. And he was always telling me, "You ought to be a coach. I hear you on the bus to and from the Pro Bowl practices talking. You talk football, you know football." And I said, "Coach, I don't want to be no coach." I said, "I love the game, but I don't want to coach it." So in 75, Tech Fram called me and he says, "Come down here and we'd like to talk to you." And I said, "Mr. Fritz, I'm not interested in being a coach, sir. He said, "No, we're talking."
My God. Keep on. Come on, Coach. Come on.
But what? I said, "I don't know anything about front office." He said, "We'll teach you." Well, I sort of understood why they wanted me to come, because I'd gone from the football field to being a Navy. In 73, I had 7 number 1s, including Billy Joe Dupree. Was one of Drain Scribner. Drew Pearson was my free agent, right? And we laugh today. Why? Because Pittsburgh and Green Bay offered him more money, but I told him his best shot was with Dallas. He disagreed that. So now we laugh about it because he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But so in 75, Mr. Sram called and wanted me to come down. He said, "Come down and spend 2 or 3 days with us. See if we like each other. And if we do, we'll come in and teach you all about the front office." And they did that. What I know today, in terms of evaluation, dealing with players, putting teams together, all that came from Dallas.
Wow.
They taught me how to do all that. And I'm forever grateful.
Wow.
Well,
Coach, we are forever grateful that you would take some time out to bless our show. Listen.
No, listen, this is a blessing. You know, there's nothing more important in our lives than father-son. That's the background of our lives. We believe in that. I was talking to 2 or 3 guys today. We talk all the time about how important it is for our young men to have a relationship with their son. Because what we as men talk and teach them, they will forever carry it with them. I can talk to a youngster 5 seconds and know whether his dad is in that house or not.
Wow.
Because I know I grew up without a dad. I know what you miss when you don't have a father in that house. And that's why this is so important. So, Mr. Slim, you stick with him, make him pay his debts, particularly his bets. He's a good man.
Hey, Slim. Okay, listen, and we're in Houston, John Wooten, and you can't get from Houston to Oklahoma City, where Slim is. I got Slim up there. I got family up there. My wife's family's up there. Our middle boy, his wife. I got a grandbaby on the way. Listen, I can't get from where I am to where you are unless I come through Dallas. And I owe you a pork chop lunch because you had the Rams. I had the Bengals.
Wow.
I have not forgotten.
So that's where that bet came from.
That's what
Okay.
it's about.
Oh, yeah,
That's
you
what
gonna
it's
pay
about.
that up, coach.
That's what it's
You
about.
paying that up.
That's
You paying that up, coach.
All right, listen, it's wonderful. Keep up the good work, you know.
Coach, just to be in your presence and shake your hand and hug your neck one more time and treat you to that pork chop lunch will be my joy.
Let me tell you this. I think I said it earlier, but let me reiterate. On April the 16th, Coach Jeffries, who is one of the great people,
no question,
Mary and so forth, and just outstanding, and Harry Carson and Donnie Shell, all of them are going to be here for a big fundraiser here on the 16th, and I'm going to get right in with them and help them raise some money because I believe in HBCUs. Okay?
I know, sir. John Wooten, we love you, man.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you. Have a great night. Appreciate it.
Man, you too.
Thank you,
Coach. Take care.
God bless you.
All right.
Bye-bye. Wow.
How many people you know can say they got Bill Russell and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Jim Brown on speed dial, bro?
Thank you.
I'm talking about can pick up the phone and be like, hey, meet me here. It's nothing, dog. We're already there.
Yeah. Hey, how many people you know that can say that they blocked for 3 guys who are in Canada? Leroy Kelly, we didn't have time to go into that with him, but he blocked for Bobby Mitchell, he blocked for Jim Brown and Leroy Kelly. That man, let me tell you, Slim, I got chills. That guy is an institution. Let me tell you.
Drew Pearson as a free agent coach?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man.
And told him to go to the Cowboys? Come on now.
Yeah, he's an OG. Ain't no question. Ain't no question. And now, we're bringing you again Slim's Peekins. Go ahead, dude.
What in the wide world of sports is going on?
Congratulations to the head basketball coach and the Savannah State Tigers, Horace Broadnack, for winning the SIAC Conference Championship. The Savannah State Tigers started their season 0-3, but heated up when it mattered the most, finishing with 11 wins and 13 losses. But, of course, like I said, the Tigers got hot when it mattered the most, winning 4 in a row to capture the Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference title, routing out Benedict College 76-62 and snapped Morehouse College's 18-game winning streak. That's impressive. Way to go, boys. Every week leading up to the NFL draft, every week that led up to the NFL draft, I'm going to give you an athlete who not only will make a NFL team, but makes an NFL team better from the HBCU. First on the list, Marquis Bell, who at the combine ran a 4.41. And I think this kid at 6'2", 200 pounds from Florida A&M will most definitely make NFL teams a whole lot better. Had some trouble in the beginning of the season, a couple of issues or two. Transferred from Coffeyville Junior College, then to Florida A&M. This young man is tough. He's battle tested and rated 123 overall prospect on Pro Football Network census board. Stay tuned, sports fans. And that's Slim's Pickens.
It's a good job. It's a good job. Slim, that boy Marquis Bell, my sources tell me that he not only will make a team, but he'll make a team better. He's got range. He's physical. I think that's a young man to watch. And I'm looking forward to next week because you're going to impart with us, give us a draft prospect every week leading up to the draft.
Coach. Every week.
All right, leading up to the draft. In the NFL draft is April the 28th.
Yes, sir.
Through the 30th. And I'm looking forward to who you're going to be bringing with us from HBCUs. Yeah, that's a hell of a job. No question.
Now, Coach, now, we got in the economic, we got the Ukraine and Russian war and everything like that. But did you know it seems like they holding Brittany Griner for ransom?
Seem like, man, and first and foremost, we got to pray for that young lady. We got to pray for that young lady. But Slim, she is being she's on lockdown. She's held in custody, and the fact is, this is a black female athlete. Okay,
Number one.
On lockdown in Russia under Vladimir Putin. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, who ain't never been known as no liberal. All right. All right. She's also a member of the LGBTQ community.
Yep.
Okay. Now, the sanctions, we got a war going on in Ukraine. Okay. And it's shameful what Putin is doing in the Ukraine, the slaughter, the massive carnage that's going on over there. Okay.
Yep.
Now, you got this woman being on lockdown. Okay. This female athlete. Okay.
Say that, Coach.
On lockdown over there. Okay. Okay. With a bigot running things. Okay. So now you got sanctions. See, this ain't just the economics of this, the politics of this, the economics of this. You have sanctions against Russia being deployed by Joe Biden, the United States, and the G7 group. We're talking Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom. They are position themselves to make a global freeze and to lock Russia or to strain Russia's finances, financial resources. So Vladimir Putin got a pawn. He got something.
I got an ace in the hole, man.
I
got an ace in the hole.
Brittany Griner. I got it on lockdown. But I tell you what, Slim, I'll give you a name that you're going to hear about this as we continue following this whole thing around it. Donald J. Trump.
I know you was going to say that, Coach.
Guarantee you're going to be here because I'm going to tell you something. That's Putin's boy.
Yeah.
There ain't no secret now. There ain't no secret. The Russians were involved in the 2016 election. Helped him get elected.
Most definitely.
Helped him get elected. Okay? So now Donald Trump toying with the idea that he go run in 2024. Okay? Now Donald Trump can step in and get Brittany Griner freed. That increases how he is esteemed right here in this country. So
not only by America, Coach, but that's a big part of the Black community as well, because we stand with Brittany.
Yeah, so let's follow that real close. But keep your eye on how Donald Trump becomes involved in this as well. No question.
Now, leading on with basketball, Coach, it's March. You know, we got some March Madness hoops to talk about. All right. The number one seeds have already been announced. In the West, you got Gonzaga. In the East, you have Baylor. In the South, Arizona. And in the Midwest, Kansas. That's the consensus number one seeds. What are your number one seeds? I'm gonna give you mine.
Number one seeds.
Who's your final four? Excuse me. Who's your final four?
All right, my final four. Slim, I got Kentucky. I got Villanova. I got Gonzaga, and I got Auburn. That's mine.
Jeez, Coach. I don't know about that. Okay, look, the only one we the only one we really considering like is Gonzaga, and then that number one. I agree with you with Drew Timmy and Chet Homer, and probably the number one overall draft pick going into next year's draft. But Kansas is also a number one pick for mine. Tennessee, led by Kennedy Chandler and Brandon Huntley Hatfield. I can't see them losing. And then Baylor, the former champions from the last March Madness tournament.
So you got Baylor, Tennessee, and who else?
Yeah, come on. Yeah.
Baylor, Tennessee, who else?
Baylor, Tennessee, Kansas, and Gonzaga, Coach.
Kansas and Gonzaga. Well, I tell you this much. Ray Charles can see that the folks that designed this year's bracketology have set up two teams, Arizona and Gonzaga. They got the easiest road to New Orleans.
That's very true.
They got the easiest road. Well, we're going to follow it. We're going to follow it. Next week, as we go to press, the women's selection show is already on. And so next week, we're going to break that down, and we're going to talk about how Tony Green going to get them Baylor Bears
to cut down them nets again. We rooting for you, Coach. We rooting for you, Coach Green.
Yeah, we rooting for you, Tony Green. Yeah.
But NFL in NFL news, Coach.
All right.
We got some important dates to discuss, and we got some free agents.
All right.
Give
our audience to the dates, Slim. Give our audience the dates.
All right, Coach. So from March 14th through the 16th, that is the legal negotiation window for these free agents. All of this news has to be done and over with by the 16th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
That's right. Got to get it all done by 4 p.m. By 4 p.m. March the 16th. Got to have it all in line. Okay.
Now I also have to meet a salary cap with that, Coach, and that number stands right now at $208.2 million.
They've upped the salary cap.
They did. They did up the salary cap, Coach. On the 4th of April, OTAs, organized training activities with
activities. OTA.
Yeah, with a new head coach that will begin on the 4th of April. On the 18th of April, if you have a returning head coach, that is when all your activities must be concluded. On the 22nd of April, that is the last day that restricted free agents can discuss with head coaches signings, and the NFL draft is the 28th through the 30th.
Yep.
I mean, we're lining it up here, and we're discussing all of this, Coach.
Yeah.
Now the teams. First, I want to talk about with you is the Bengals.
All right.
What's the Bengals going to target, Coach?
All right, I tell you what's there. We're going to give our audience a division each week leading up to the draft. We're going to start off with the AFC North, okay? Everybody but Cleveland, because Cleveland ain't got no chance to win. And so we're going to talk about the three teams that got a chance to win: Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Cincinnati.
Yep.
Okay? All right. So with free agency, with the Bengals. We watched Joe Burrow run around like a chicken with his head cut off, get sacked 9 times. They beat Tennessee in the playoffs. He was sacked 9 times in that game. The Super Bowl concluded with Aaron Donald sacking him. News flash, if you're at Cincinnati, you thinking offensive line help.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Cincinnati They got to be big players, and they need to hurry up and snatch up this boy Teron Armstead from Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Yep.
He's the premier left tackle in free agency. The Bengals got to snatch him up. Okay? And they got to solidify that interior part of the offensive line. Take that boy Brandon Scherf.
Yeah.
That guard from the Redskins. Because he turned, listen, he going to get paid big time. He turned down big money not to sign with the Redskins. But Brandon Scherf was taken in the first round in 2015 and has made 5 straight Pro Bowls. He can anchor. He'd be a perfect piece. So you got to get that left tackle, and you got to get a good interior offensive line. Also, say this is a good year, Slim, for offensive tackles in the draft. And I'm going to give you 2 names.
Okay.
Because after Cincinnati signs Teron Armstead and Brandon Scherf, they don't pick until the 31st pick in the draft. That's what happens when you're good. They pick it low. But there's enough good offensive tackle talent out there. So I'll give you 2 names. There's a tackle from the University of Tulsa named Tyler Smith.
Okay.
6'6", 320 pounds, physical. He's a rolling ball of butcher knives, and he's athletic. Then there's a mammoth human being at the University of Minnesota, big tackle named Daniel Falil. That's his
Daniel
name.
Falil. Okay.
Daniel Falil, big guy, 6'8", about 370 pounds. Big human being, but he's long, he's athletic, and he's tough. And both of those guys could very well be around late into the first round. And so Cincinnati's got to fix that offensive line.
Okay. Now, and if not Teron Armstead, coach, then Orlando Brown for sure. That's another big tackle from New England that's in free agency. Absolutely, no question. That's a good name. Now the Steelers, coach.
Oh, the Steelers. Okay. If you're the Steelers, first of all, you understand something. You got to fix that secondary because Joe Hayden from the University of Florida, good player in his day, getting a little long in the tooth, and he's testing the water through free agency. Joe Hayden. So the best corner available is that boy from New England, J.C. Jackson. And they need to snatch him up. Mike Tomlin and them need to snatch him up. No question, he's the best corner available. The other thing is, too, is you mentioned Trent Brown, but
Orlando Brown, coach.
Orlando, yeah. Villanueva. Alejandro
Villanueva, yes, sir.
He has retired. So Pittsburgh has got to rebuild that offensive line. I would look for Trent Brown, the big tackle from New England. He's in free agency. You also got to tackle Dwayne Brown up at Seattle, who's in free agency. So Pittsburgh got to do something about that offensive line as well. So I would make those 2 selections, get those 2 guys in place. Absolutely.
Now Baltimore.
Oh, the
Ravens got to do, coach.
Okay, all right. We had T. Martin on last week.
Yep.
And of course, T can't talk about the combine. That's tampering.
Tampering. Can't do that.
No, but if you the Ravens, first thing I would try to do, I would go get that boy Bobby Wagner, free agent and middle linebacker from the Seahawks.
From Seattle.
They've got to bolster that defense. The other guy that I would go get is the Honey Badger from Kansas City. Tyrann Mathieu.
Tyrann Mathieu, yep.
Slim, those are 2 good, solid defensive veterans. They're good citizens, they're good teammates, and they'd be a perfect fit for that Raven locker room. Plus, they can play. So Baltimore's got to enhance that defense. On offense, drop this before we get out of here. I would go for that boy out there at Arizona that had a good year out there at Arizona with Cliff Kingsbury, that tight end Zach Ertz. I would bring him to Baltimore, pair him with Mark Andrews pair him with Mark Andrews, and now you're giving Lamar Jackson 2 good, solid guys to go to on third down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's Zach Ertz from Philly. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, if he's with the Cardinals now,
I'm talking about the same kind of playing level, Coach.
Yeah. Absolutely, no question.
Coach, it was a pleasure being in the studio with you again. I cannot. John Wooten was a treat. That was amazing, Coach.
John Wooten, man. Thanks, Coach Wooten. We do appreciate it. Slim, give my love to everybody up in Oklahoma City.
You know I will. Tell everybody. Tell Mama I love her, Coach.
I'll tell your mama you love her. Give her a big hug and kiss just for you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Take care, Coach.
Take care, my buddy. Take care. And finally, as this free agency flurry commences, what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson? Well, you can take Tampa Bay out of the picture because Tom Brady said he's coming back. And you've got the Steelers needing a quarterback. Lord knows the Colts need a quarterback. There are a lot of teams that need quarterbacks. And you know, there are a bunch of folks that are saying, he ain't going to play again. He got to serve his time still. Yeah, he might have dropped showed there wasn't no criminal charges, but he ain't going to play again. Yeah, right. Let me tell you something. Remember we heard it. Deshaun Watson will be on the football field in the National Football League for the season of 2022, and here is why. NFL ain't making no money when the second best quarterback, and I'm only including Patrick Mahomes ahead of this guy, athletic ability. When he ain't playing, when he ain't on the football field, the NFL ain't making no money. So now you can serve it up any way you want to, but the NFL is all about marketing. And yes, these alleged charges that now have proven no validity in the criminal court, he ain't going to be indicted. You tried to strip him of his honor, but you can rest assured the NFL gonna make sure that a superstar athlete is on the field. As Grandmaster Melly Mel once said, it's all about the money. Ain't a damn thing funny. And hey, that's how I see it. 6 o'clock, straight up and down.
Not guilty, not guilty, not guilty.
Please,
ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode of Homespun Sports. Sports talk with a twist of down home wisdom. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Homespun Sports, episode 27. We thank you so much, Coach Wooten, for being our special guest on episode 27. It was an absolute treat to have you on our show, sir. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you can not only catch this episode on YouTube, but iHeartRadio and Spotify for your listening and viewing pleasure. Make sure you got that bell turned on so you don't miss any of our content, any of our latest content when it comes out to you. It's all live, it's all local, it's all for real, and it's all for you. Coach.
Yeah, man.
Let's go ahead and get up out of here like we came, bro.
My bro. What? He said, bang!